You think moving on means forgetting, but forgetting was never the point, and that confusion is exactly why you're still stuck. You've been standing in the same hallway for months, maybe years, looking at a door that is closed, that has been closed, that was closed for reasons that had everything to do with your growth and very little to do with your worthiness. And yet you keep reaching for the handle. You keep replaying the conversation. You keep reopening the wound because somewhere inside you, you've decided that if you just feel it long enough, understand it completely enough, analyze every last detail with enough precision, it will stop hurting. It won't. Not like that. Not that way. That's not healing. That is something else entirely. And today we are going to talk about what it actually is, why you keep doing it, what it is costing you, and exactly how you get out of the loop permanently. If this kind of honest, no-filler conversation is what you need in your life right now, hit subscribe. Not for me, for you. Because the road ahead of you is going to keep throwing moments like this one. Moments where the feeling hits, where the old story tries to pull you back, and you are going to need reminders like this one waiting for you. Subscribe so the truth finds you before the spiral does. Now, back to you. Here's what moving on actually means. It does not mean the memory dissolves. It does not mean the pain evaporates into clean air and you wake up one morning completely indifferent to everything that happened. That is a fantasy version of closure that movies sold you and that you have been chasing like a mirage in a desert. You were never meant to walk through this long. Real moving on is something quieter, something sturdier, something far less dramatic and far more powerful than the story you've been telling yourself. Moving on means you stop giving that thing, that person, that failure, that version of yourself authority over your present moment. It means the memory stays, the lesson stays, but the charge is gone, the grip is gone, and you are free again. That is the thesis. Let's build it. The misconception is this. You believe that healing requires resolution. You believe that before you can truly move forward, the story has to end cleanly. You need them to apologize. You need to understand why it happened. You need the explanation, the closure conversation, the acknowledgement that yes, you were treated poorly, yes, you deserved better, yes, it was real and it mattered. You need the ending to make sense. And because life rarely gives you a clean ending, because people rarely hand you the apology they owe you, you stay frozen, waiting, orbiting. That's called emotional hostage taking, except you are both the hostage and the one holding the rope. Nobody else is keeping you there. That is the uncomfortable truth you have been avoiding. The hard truth is that closure is not something another person gives you. It is something you decide. It is a unilateral act. It requires nothing from them. Not their words, not their remorse, not their explanation, not their change of heart. You do not need them to admit what they did for you to put it down. You do not need the full picture to walk away from the frame. Closure is a decision you make in the quiet of your own chest on a day when you finally get tired enough of carrying it and you say, out loud or silently, it doesn't matter, I am done letting this define my forward motion. That's it. That is the whole ceremony. No one else required. But why do you keep reaching back? Why does the mind keep returning to what hurt you, to what ended, to what you lost? Let's go to the root. Human beings are meaning-making machines. It is neurological before it is emotional. Your brain is wired, literally hardwired, to seek pattern completion. When something ends without resolution, without a satisfying conclusion, the brain treats it like an open loop. An unfinished file that keeps running in the background, consuming processing power, dragging on your capacity to be present, to be creative, to be forward-facing. This is known in psychology as the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain clings to incomplete things. It haunts you not because you are weak, but because you are human. But here is where it becomes a choice. You can honor the biology and then override the narrative. You can say, I understand why my mind keeps going there, and I am also going to interrupt that cycle on purpose. The deeper root, though, and this is the one that stings, is identity. You held on to that relationship, that job, that version of yourself, that version of your life, because it was part of how you defined who you were. When it ended, it wasn't just the thing that was gone. Part of your identity went with it. And the grief you feel is not just grief about losing them or it, It is grief about losing a version of yourself that you don't know how to replace yet. You were the man in that relationship. You were the person in that career. You were the guy who had that life, and now you don't know what story you're in anymore. So you keep reaching back to the old one because at least it's familiar. Familiarity masquerades as love. Familiarity masquerades as need. And you fall for it every time. That is what this costs you. Every day you spend orbiting the old story is a day you are not building the new one. Every morning you wake up and the first thought is about what you lost. You have spent the most potent hour of your entire day in the past. Every time you check their profile, every time you rehearse the conversation you never got to have, every time you tell the story to a friend for the 14th time, looking for sympathy that never quite fills the hole, you are paying with your present moment for something that no longer exists. You are investing your energy, your creativity, your emotional bandwidth into a ghost. And meanwhile, your actual life, the one happening right now, the one with real possibility and real people and real opportunity, is quietly passing by, unlived, unnoticed, untouched. That is what it costs, not just pain, time, identity, direction, the version of yourself you were supposed to become while you were busy mourning the version of yourself you thought you already were. Now let's reframe this completely, because the frame changes everything. What if this pain is not punishment? What if it is not evidence that something went wrong, that you are broken, that you chose wrong, that you are cursed, that love is dangerous, that opening up is foolish? What if the pain is information? What if it is the precise tuning fork vibration that tells you, this matters, this affected you, this changed you, and you are now capable of carrying something heavier than you were before? Pain is not an enemy. Unfelt pain is the enemy. Unfaced pain is the enemy. Pain you run from has power over you. Pain you walk into, deliberately, consciously, with your eyes open. That pain becomes transformation. That's called the price of depth. And the men who have paid it are not victims. They are architects of something more real, more grounded, more genuine than the men who never got close enough to anything to get hurt. Let it hurt. Not forever, not pathologically, but fully. Actually feel the weight of it without immediately reaching for your phone, for distraction, for the next thing to numb it. Sit in it. Let it be as big as it actually is. Don't make yourself smaller to make it manageable. Let it be enormous if it is enormous. Grief is not a weakness. Grief is the measure of love, the measure of investment, the measure of how much of yourself you are willing to put on the line. You should be proud that you are capable of this depth of feeling, not ashamed, not embarrassed, proud. Real men feel deeply. They just don't live there permanently. Feel it, then watch it. This is the part no one tells you. After you've allowed yourself to truly feel the fullness of it, not just the surface sting, but the real weight underneath, there is a moment of observation that becomes available to you. A space between the feeling and the meaning you assign to it. In that space, you are not the grief. You are the one watching the grief. That distinction is everything. You are not broken. You are a whole person experiencing brokenness. You are not a failure. You are a capable man who encountered failure. You are not unlovable. You are someone who loved and was not met where you stood. Those are not the same things. Let them not be the same things anymore. Now let me show you the man who lives on the other side of this, because this is important. You need to see him clearly. He is not the man who never got hurt. He is not the man who shut it all down, who built walls so high that nothing gets in and nothing gets out. He is not cold. He is not numb. He is not the guy who swallowed it all and pretends it never happened and jokes about it in a bar years later with that hollow sound under the laugh that everyone can hear but no one mentions. That man is not healed. That man is just defended. The man on the other side of this is warm. He is open. He is present in a way that is almost startling, because presence has become so rare that when you encounter a man who is genuinely, fully here, it feels unusual. He walks into a room and he is in that room. Not in last year, not in the conversation that ended badly, not in the future he is afraid of. Here, now, this room, this person, this moment. He has boundaries, not walls, boundaries. There is a difference. Walls keep everything out. Boundaries let the right things in and protect against what doesn't belong. He knows the difference between someone who deserves his energy and someone who is simply familiar. He has stopped confusing intensity for intimacy. He has stopped confusing chaos for chemistry. He knows what he offers, and he offers it without apology, but also without desperation. He is not looking to be chosen. He already chose himself. Anyone who joins that story is joining someone who has already decided on his own worth. He has a mission. This is crucial. He is not floating. He is pointed at something, a purpose, a project, a craft, a contribution that is larger than any individual relationship in his life. This does not mean he doesn't care about the people in his life. It means he has a gravitational center that is not another human being, which means he cannot be destabilized by the loss of one, which means the love he gives is from surplus, not from desperation, which means when someone leaves, the foundation holds, not because he didn't care, but because he cared about something larger. He let it hurt, he let it heal, he let it go, and now he moves through the world with a particular kind of quiet authority that has nothing to prove and everything to give. You can be that man. You are not far from him. You are, in fact, in the exact process of becoming him right now. This conversation, this moment, this choice to face it honestly instead of scrolling past it, this is the work. You are doing it. So here is what you do. Concretely, specifically. Starting today, you stop revisiting. You make a decision, a real one, not a half-hearted attempt, that the story you have been telling yourself about this, whatever this is for you, is closed for review. Not because it didn't matter, because it already happened. The review changes nothing. Every time your mind drifts back to it, you redirect. Not with force, not with shame, but with intention. You say, I have already been there. I know what happened. I don't need to go over it again. And you point your attention somewhere forward. You stop monitoring, you know what I mean. You stop checking. You stop looking for evidence that they are struggling without you, or thriving without you, or changed without you, or exactly the same without you. None of those outcomes are information you need. None of them change your path. The monitoring is not intelligence gathering. It is a way of staying connected to something you told yourself you were leaving. Stop the monitoring. Not because it makes you look weak, but because it costs you presence, and presence is your most valuable asset right now. You start building. This is the redirected energy. Every hour you get back from not revisiting, not monitoring, not rehearsing, you put it into something. Your body, your craft, your friendships, your purpose. You build, not as an escape from the pain, after the pain, in the space that the pain carved out. You are not running from something. You are running towards something. Those are entirely different directions, and they produce entirely different men. You let people in, not recklessly, not immediately, but you do not close the door to the world because one door closed. You lean back into your friendships. You show up for the people who showed up for you. You let yourself be seen by safe people, because isolation in the name of independence is a slow death dressed in masculine language. Strength is not solitude. Strength is knowing when you need the room and when you need the people in it. You redefine what it means to have loved and lost. You stop seeing this as evidence of your failure and start seeing it as evidence of your courage. Most men never risk enough to lose anything that matters. You did. You were present enough, open enough, invested enough, real enough to get hurt by something real. That is not a flaw. That is proof of life. You are alive in a way that matters. Don't let the pain convince you to stop being alive that way. And you make the promise, not to anyone else, to yourself. You look at yourself, and I mean really look, not the performative glance, the real unflinching look, and you make the promise. I will not spend another year giving the dead version of my past power over the living version of my future. I will not hand my potential over to a memory. I will not make my ceiling the height of my last wound. That promise is the beginning. That is the moment the old story ends and the new one is authorized. Because here is what is true about you. Underneath all of it, the grief, the confusion, the loop, the reaching back, underneath all of it, you are intact. You always were. Nothing that happened to you subtracted from your core. It shifted things, it changed things, it cost you something real. But the bedrock of who you are, your capacity to care, to grow, to build, to connect, to pursue, to create, That is untouched. That does not belong to the past. It belongs to you. It has always belonged to you. They couldn't take it when they left. The failure couldn't take it when it happened. The loss couldn't take it when it arrived. It is yours. You are not a man defined by what he lost. You are a man defined by what he did with the loss, how he carried it, what he built from the rubble, what emerged from the version of himself that got leveled and refused to stay down. That is the man people remember. That is the man who leaves a mark. That is the man whose story, when told, sounds like something worth leaning in to hear. Let it hurt, because it did hurt, and pretending otherwise is a lie that makes you smaller. Let it heal. Actively, intentionally, with patience for yourself and honesty about where you actually are in the process. Let it go. Not because it didn't matter, because you do. Because your life, this one, the one happening right now on the other side of that door, matters more than the door. Walk through it. You are the answer to the question the pain has been asking. The question is, what are you made of? The answer is everything you need to get through this and into something better. If this hit something true for you today, subscribe. Every week there is more like this. No fillers, no shortcuts, no comfortable lies. Just the kind of clear, honest conversation that helps you remember who you actually are when the noise gets loud. You belong in this community. We don't do victim stories here. We do transformation. We do accountability. We do the real work of becoming men who move through this world with purpose, with presence, and with peace. You found this for a reason. Stay. End of script. Approximately 3,000 words. Script notes for delivery. The script is structured with a deliberate emotional arc. Confusion, confrontation, root cause, cost, reframe, archetype, action, identity restoration, belonging. The pacing alternates between short percussive lines, let it hurt, and longer immersive paragraphs to create rhythmic contrast ideal for spoken delivery. The masculine self-respect framing is maintained throughout without crossing into defensiveness or resentment, always pointing toward reclamation rather than blame. The two CTAs are placed organically, one at tiers 12% of the script, framed as viewer utility, and the final one as a community invitation at the close.